still do adultery. What else do you want? Tick more boxes. How many more things? We'll still drink interest and we'll commit adultery. In the same way the Muslims here today. I will be good in salah. Yes, this sounds good. And so, and this. But that area, no. Muhammad got that one wrong. I know. We're in the West. He never knew. He was in the middle of the desert. He didn't know what was happening. Whereas we say the halal of Muhammad, halal until the day of judgment. And the haram of Muhammad, haram until the day of judgment. Here is number 2, mawaddah. But the third area where the word mawaddah is used is a very surprising area, but it is an area you must all understand. It's in Surah 5 verse number 82. Just as a reference for the previous ones, you find here, this one, what does it say? لَتَجِدَنَّ أَقْرَبَهُمْ. You will find those who are closest to you. مَوَدَّةً لِلَّذِينَ آمَنُوا الَّذِينَ قَالُوا إِنَّا نَصَارَى. You will find the closest people in mawaddah, in reciprocal love. They have within them, within their nature, a reciprocal love, are those who say, we are the Christians. Why? ذَلِكَ بِأَنَّ مِنْهُمْ قِسِّيسِينَ وَرَهْبَانًا وَأَنَّهُمْ لَا يَسْتَكْبِرُونَ. Because from amongst them there are monks and there are priests who are very humble people, and they never act arrogantly. وَإِذَا سَمِعُوا مَا أُنزِلَ إِلَى الرَّسُولِ. When they hear what has come down to our Prophet Muhammad, تَرَى عَيُنَهُمْ تَفِيضُ مِنَ الدَّمْعِ مِمَّا عَرَفُوا مِنَ الْحَقِّ. You will find their eyes suddenly overflow with tears because they've heard the truth. Look what honor Allah gives the Christian world. The Christian world, Allah uses their love in the Quran to say that between Islam and Christianity there is a reciprocal love. Imagine that. Reciprocal. The idea here is that when we take this verse, it is vital for us to come out to the Christian world and show them this verse, that there is a reciprocity between us and you. That the Quran, on the contrary, when some of your presidents come out and say we are the born again Christians who are going to avenge what happened and we are like the Crusaders, yes, some of the presidents in the world today try to use that rhetoric. Come and look what the Quran says. We don't preach such things. We say no, Christianity, there is a mawaddah between us. There is a reciprocal love. That's why you notice the Prophet Muhammad in his time, when the Prophet Muhammad sends Ja'far al-Tayyar, and you see how many times we have used this example, sends Ja'far al-Tayyar to whom? To whom? To a Christian priest. A humble Christian priest. He sends Ja'far al-Tayyar to him. When Ja'far al-Tayyar gets there, and our friend Amr ibn al-As gets there, and we go forward, they both come with their both groups, the Abyssinian priest listens to Ja'far al-Tayyar's version of Islam. We believe in one God. We believe in all the messengers that came before Muhammad, and we believe Muhammad is the final prophet of God. And then he listens to Amr ibn al-As, as usual, from what comes out of his mouth, nothing that makes sense. We don't agree with these people. They are ignorant people. They are people who are away from the religion, something along those lines. What does the priest do? The priest gets his stick, he draws a line, he says, what Ja'far al-Tayyar has said about Isa, son of Mary, is neither wrong nor is it exaggeration. It is the exact truth that he is a prophet of God. Because as soon as he heard the words of Islam, this priest, because of his humility, he began to cry. And it is narrated that he was the one who Rasulullah used to set up the marriage between him and Habiba when Habiba was in Abyssinia. Imagine that. Rasulullah uses this person who used to be a Christian priest, uses him when he becomes a Muslim to be the one who engages the contract of marriage between him and one of his wives. Here's one example of Christianity. Another example, Ali ibn Abi Talib, when he used to walk in the street in Kufa, there wasn't a single poor man. Only on one day he found one Christian man on the ground who was sitting begging. Ali ibn Abi Talib, he sat next to him and he said, he called out to all his companions. He said, why is this Christian man, when he used to serve the Islamic State, we used to use him. Now when he is poor, he is begging and there is no Muslim to help him? And he came and he helped him and he took him towards a healthy life. Number 2, you found Imam Muhammad al-Baqir as another example of an Imam who shows us that dialogue with Christianity brings success in the life of a human being. Imam al-Baqir has a famous encounter with one of the highest monks in Damascus. Why? This monk, he used to say, Bani Umayyah haven't taught me one thing. Not one thing. Everything Bani Umayyah are coming with is all rubbish, because everything that is meant to be in the Bible about the successors to Muhammad, they're not answering none of my questions. I am looking for that Imam who will come and answer my questions. Imam al-Baqir, he came to this monk. When he came to the monk came out. The monk used to only come out once in the whole year. The monk comes out, he sees Imam al-Baqir. He says, are you of the scholars or of the ignorant? First question. Are you of the scholars or of the ignorant? Imam al-Baqir looked at him, and as per the sharpest replies of Ahl al-Bayt, he says, I am not one of the ignorants. He doesn't say I'm a scholar. He says, I'm not one of the ignorants. The monk looks at him, he says, okay, let me ask you some questions. People tell me you're a wise man, and I've been looking for the success of Muhammad. Let me ask you some questions. He said, what do you want to ask me? He said, first question, which period is neither day nor night? Which period is neither day nor night? Imam al-Baqir looked at him, he said, it's the period just before sunrise. That period is known as not being day nor being night. It's the 1 hour just before sunrise. He says, what happens in this period? He says, when a person has an illness, it gets cured. And when he cannot go to sleep, he goes to sleep automatically then. Where'd you get that knowledge? Medicine and... Next question. You, the Muslims, say that in paradise people will eat non-stop without excreting. How does this happen? If you're going to eat that much, how are you not going to excrete? Imam al-Baqir said, it's like the fetus in the womb of the mother. However much food it is given, there is no urinating and no excretion. They say, okay, you eat so much, we understand. This Jannah of yours in Islam, it's meant to never end. The idea that there are so many fruits in there, you eat and eat and eat, but they never end. How does this work? He said, it's like the lights of a candle. However many different lights it begins, the source still remains the same. And then he says, okay, which two were born, two twins, they were born on the same day. Yet one died at the age of 50, and they both died on the same day. Yet one died at the age of 50, and another died at the age of 150. Twins. Born on the same day, die on the same day. But one died at the age of 50, and the other died at the age of 150. Who was it? Imam al-Baqir looks at him, he says it was Prophet Uzair and his brother Aziz. He says, how? He says, Uzair was 30 years old. He said, Ya Allah, can you raise the dead and make them alive? Allah made him die 400 years. And then he brought him back to life, he made him live for 20 years. So how long did he live? 50 years. His brother during this whole period had remained alive. So he lived for how long? 150 years. They were both twins. They died on the same day. One was 50, another was 150. This guy looks at Imam al-Baqir and he thinks, how do you answer questions like this? Where did you get this knowledge from? He looks at him and he says, are you from the sons of Fatima al-Zahra? And the reply comes, yes, I am. He says, from which line? Hussein's line? He says, from Hussein's line. He said, I've been searching all this time for the line of Aba Abdullah, for someone to answer me questions which will answer what the Bible has said about them. He says, only now in Baqir al-Ulum I have finally found this person in front of me. So here you found an example of a Christian monk who, because of humility, comes towards the religion of Islam. That's why us, when we approach Christianity and when we want to discuss, it is vital we open the doors of dialogue. It is vital we study their religion. Don't just take it as they are people of the book. No, go and read. Go and inquire. And there are two main areas you must always discuss with them to try and bring them towards Islam. One of them, and both of them are connected. Please understand both of them. Number one is infallibility. And number two is the concept of justice and free will. Number one, infallibility. Why? Because many people come forward today, they say in Islam, Islam is just a copy of the Christian religion. What do you mean? Many of the stories in the Quran were taken from the Bible. They're just stolen from the Bible. Muhammad was a magician. He came, he put it all together, and that's what the religion of Islam is. I'm sure many of you have heard such arguments. Islam just came and copied. The first area when you want to reply to this is to say, on the contrary, in Islam, the concept of infallibility of the prophets differs from Christianity. How? In infallibility of the prophets, there's no such thing in Christianity. Adam was the cause of the original sin. Noah was a drunkard. Lot committed incest with his daughters. Sulaiman had many concubines. Dawood sent a husband to war so he can go and sleep with his wife. Prophet Dawood. Harun made the children of Israel worship the calf. It wasn't them, it was Harun who made them go and worship the calf. These are the Bibles in Christianity, these are the prophets in Christianity, let alone Jesus in Christianity coming forward and saying to his mother, woman, what do you have to do in this matter? This is our prophet Jesus. Woman, what do you have to do in this matter? The way he speaks to his mother. On the contrary, in Islam, we believe every prophet of God is infallible. On what premises? Number one, the idea we come forward that in the Quran, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَمَا أَرْسَلْنَا مِن رَسُولٍ إِلَّا لِيُطَاعَ بِإِذْنِ اللَّهِ. We have not sent a prophet except that he is obeyed with the permission of Allah. What does this mean? It means that obedience to any prophet is the same as obedience to Allah. I cannot follow a prophet who can't guide himself. True?